It's YNK, so since I stole all of Thorin's gigs, at the very least, what you guys can do is subscribe to his YouTube channel, so go on and do it right now.
I'm here for another episode of Reflections, and this one is going to be with a very well-known Russian Counter-Strike player called Dosia. Of course, for this particular one, we are going to use an interpreter. You'll see subtitles on the bottom, and so hopefully, by speaking in Russian, Dosia will be able to explain himself fully and give us some more in-depth answers, because actually the first place I will start, Dosia, is a lot of people in the West don't really know anything about you. You're kind of a mystery to them. So are you aware of this? What do you think of it?
Если честно, никогда даже не задумывался об этом. Вот, знают меня люди или не знают, но, наверное, они не знают меня, потому что я не разговариваю по-английски, и я никогда не давал интервью на английском языке. Возможно, из-за этого.
Because actually, one thing I'll just start off by asking, this is probably going to be surprising to people who are Western, is they don't even know what the name Dosia means. They actually aren't aware that it's the name of this mascot for a brand in Russia, right? Is this where you took the name from? Why did you pick this name? It seems like an unusual name for a gamer.
Ну, вообще, да, это правда. Это мой никнейм Дося. Это взято из рекламы, скажем так, стирального порошка, который проходил у нас на телевидении. И да, там была в рекламе основной герой была свинка. Вот, ну я не знаю, как-то вот так получилось, что вот именно из этой рекламы я и взял себе ник.
Okay, because even though, like, I'll skip forwards a little bit, we'll just keep the topics together. Obviously, the other funny thing about your career, before we get to the actual playing part where you had a lot of success, you were a very good player, is there's another sort of set of memes in the West, which is obviously this whole thing that you are the ex-god, and that people make this whole thing where they pretend like you're, like, you know, like a Greek sculpture, some Adonis, some incredible figure that every woman's sexually drawn to. Is this something, was this meme ever in the Russian scene as well? Did you just hear about it from the West? What do you think of it? It's kind of a weird thing to have associated with your name if you're a pro gamer, right?
В России точно так же этот мем, он есть, он существует, и каждый, наверное, на каждой фан-встрече или кто-то меня где-то встречает на улице, он обязательно обращается там, ну вот не Дося, не Миша, да, мое имя, а именно вот X-год. И вот я слышу, когда даже просто по улице могу идти, о, X-год идет, вот такое могу услышать.
When you actually, in CS 1.6, the game you became known in, became a good player, and people might know the first team was actually this team TPU Sports, which is the one where you played with your brother, right? Were you actually someone where, this is kind of late in Counter-Strike 1.6, like this is sort of like 2009, 10, like the later period of the game. Why didn't we know about you before this? Is there a reason you hadn't gone to the top of being a pro? Were you trying to be a pro before this?
Да, конечно, я играл. Все дело в том, что я из российской глубинки, из маленького города, это город Уфа, поэтому пробиться на ту сцену, на, ну, скажем так, на уровень, где тебя замечает весь мир, очень сложно. И вот наша ступень, она как бы была, это поездки по регионам нашей страны. То есть это было очень редкие поездки в Москву и больше поездок каких-то вот по маленьким городам в ближайшем, которые были рядом с нами, и такие локальные турниры.
Being as you were in a team, not just in 1.6, but even early on in CSGO, if people don't know, with your brother Fox, who was a player as well, sometimes when someone's brother plays a game, it might be a sport or a video game, people feel like they sort of have to take their brother along with them. Like, you know, your mum might even say, you let your brother play with you, right? Was your brother always as good as you? Did you always think, like, was he always trying to be a top pro as well? Like, I actually thought he was a pretty good player. People forget that. Was part of it, did you feel like a bond you had to play with him? Could you have played in different teams together? Separately, I mean?
Изначально мы на самом деле играли в разных командах, но это больше касалось, наверное, возраста. И вот именно в нашем регионе команды определялись как бы по возрасту сначала, ну и потом уже, когда мы начали выезжать там на большие какие-то турниры, мы уже вместе начали это делать, вот. И не было такого, на самом деле, что нам кто-то говорил, что вы должны играть вместе, но оно само так получилось по итогу. И не знаю, и у нас это получалось настолько хорошо, то, что мы даже не общались во время игры, когда мы оставались в какой-то ситуации вдвоем.
What would you actually say about the skills of your brother? Because I actually thought if people know the original Dosia from 1.6, you were more of like a star player. This guy seemed like maybe a more of like an all-around game, like he can do a lot of different roles.
Безусловно, безусловно. И он показывал это в 1.6 Counter-Strike. И он показывал очень высокий уровень. И когда мы все переходили в тот момент на CSGO, он также очень хорошо играл. Просто он отпустил, по сути, игру, перестал в нее играть. И вот это очень сильно сказалось, то, что все остальные этот переход полностью проходили. А он в определенный момент перестал играть и уже потом там через год или полтора не смог вернуться.
One of the first like big moves I remember in this team that you were in 1.6, where a famous player joined, was the legendary former Virtus.pro player Heli or Hell1. People might remember his name was written this way. And obviously in Russian Counter-Strike, there hadn't been many teams that had been like top teams and been able to go international level. And this was a player from one of those teams. Like when he joined your team, he was a veteran already. Who was this player? Was it a big deal to play with a famous player?
На самом деле, в то время мы вообще не считали никого как бы топ игроками. Ну, я имею в виду то, что мы не считали кого-то непобедимыми. И мы всегда играли с этими командами, по сути, на равных внутри нашей страны, да, на каких-то чемпионатах. Поэтому, ну, пришел просто игрок, который нужен был нашей команде. И что-то вот такое невероятное от него мы не ожидали, и, по сути, ну, он просто был более профессионален, чем мы.
One of the first big tournaments for your team in terms of international play and Western people getting to know you was the World Cyber Games. You got to qualify to World Cyber Games, and this was even a cool one. It was 2009. If people remember, it was the one that was won by the Polish players where they beat Fnatic, and it was in China, so it's pretty kind of like radical change of venue as well. What was it like to attend this event? Like your team even had a good run here. Can you give me some thoughts on this big event?
Ну, мы там участвовали 100%, как просто темная лошадка, скажем так. От нас никто ничего не ожидал, мы от себя тоже ничего не ожидали, по сути. Но так получилось, что мы во время турнира, как это делают постоянно сейчас в Фейс, набрали какую-то такую серьезность, форму, обыграли несколько сильных коллективов и, ну, поверили в себя, что ли, ну, как-то вот так получилось. Ну, а проиграли польской команде. Ну, у нас была очень близкая, на самом деле, игра с польской командой. Чуть-чуть где-то не повезло. Могли встретиться в финале, конечно, против там Гитрайта, насколько я помню. Но чуть-чуть не дошло.
One of the other things about this team that you were in was when this team then became known and was going to all the tournaments, especially in CIS region, you were obviously battling NAVI. This was when the NAVI team was formed, and everyone remembers in 2010 they were really good. But a lot of Western fans might not know, Dosia, that actually NAVI found some of its best competition within the CIS lands. Like they would often get upset or lose a map, or sometimes your team could beat them even. So I wonder, actually, people will know internationally how good NAVI was when they won all the majors and Marklov and these players, but you were battling them. So what do you remember? What was it like to play against 2010 NAVI?
Я думаю, что для европейских и там американских топовых команд команда NAVI была такой, наверное, суперстар-тим. Вот. Но для нас это были все те же игроки, которых мы знаем, с которыми мы играли постоянно на каких-то СНГ-турнирах. Поэтому, ну, не знаю, лично мне было очень легко играть против этой команды. И поэтому, ну, мы показывали всегда хорошую игру. И у всей команды, у нашей, ну, абсолютно так же.
Did seeing this team go to the international lands and then win and beat all the Swedish and Danish, did it make you think it's possible for your team, for you?
Of course, yes.
One of the years for me where the team you were in finally became in the international tournaments good was obviously when it became called Moscow 5. People remember this lineup. And there's a question I have to ask right out of the gate because I have pretty good memory in Counter-Strike, something I'm famous for. And when I used to watch this team play Dosia, I used to think that the in-game leader I think it was Edic, must be the craziest in-game leader of all time, because normally, you know how 1.6 was? Actually, the meta for how you buy in the economy is very sort of stable, and people actually, it's not like in CSGO where people force buy all the time. Actually, people would like save really strictly, and then you all buy together. I noticed in this team, it looks like people just buy whenever they want. People just buy a deagle on the pistol round of CT. People buy AWPs when they have no money left. Like, can you give me some thoughts? Was this really what it was like in the team?
Я скажу так, что именно вот этот капитан Эдик, во-первых, скажу, что на момент, когда он играл и стал капитаном нашей команды, он играл всего 1,5 года в эту игру. И у него были немного другие, как бы, ну, по-другому он видел эту игру, по-другому понимал эту игру. И поэтому у нас вообще не было никаких ограничений. По сути, если, ну вот как нам говорил Эдик, если ты уверен, делай, все.
Fucking hell. All right. One of the first big tournaments I remember this team had like success at was actually a CIS tournament, but had international teams. It was MSI Beat It in Russia, where you guys got to play like Fnatic with Khan and beat them. And so this was some big name teams. So do you remember this event? Is it a memorable win?
Yeah, of course. This tournament, only one tournament where we play all matches cobblestone.
What about, I remember another thing about your team was one of the changes to the map pool that felt like it boosted your team a lot was actually when Tuscan became a map. People always said that your teams and the CIS teams in general were good on this map. You had a strength on it. Do you remember, would you agree? Is there a reason why your teams liked this map, or did you like this map?
I'm like, for sure.
Any reason why though? Maybe you can give us a reason in Russian. What do you like about the map? What was interesting about the way it was laid out, or the architecture or something?
Ну, я отвечу на русском. Эта карта была очень проста для нас, потому что у нас были очень агрессивные игроки. Вот, это, если ты помнишь, это был такой игрок, Ксек. И он задавал тренд как раз на этой карте. Он агрессивно с АВП играл на мидле. И вообще для нас, для остальной команды, это было настолько легко, потому что до нас особо-то уже никто и не доходил. Или мы знали, куда идет атака, и поэтому...
In CS 1.6, by the end, when your team became famous, a lot of people knew you are the star player. In fact, if people go back and they look at like people making rankings like HLTV does the top 20 players stuff, you would have been one of these players that people would point out. Did you see yourself as a star player in CS 1.6? Did you think you were one of the best?
Только в Китае.
Why only in China, though?
A lot of people in China... спрашивали автографы вот как раз на ВЦГ 2009 года. В то время, в те года, как-то в КС 1.6 не было такого ажиотажа вокруг игроков. Ну, и в России, и, наверное, в Европе тоже. Сейчас в CSGO, когда уже вот продвинулась вся эта медийная часть, там намного больше фанатов устало у игры, у игроков, и реально узнают на улицах, там, вот.
If I look up your stats, though, you're going to have very good stats. So did you yourself feel like, were you one of the best players? If you go against, think of the names back then, Mark Love or Forrest or Neo, did you feel like you're as good, like you could beat these guys?
Я чувствовал, что я очень хорошо играю. И то, что я могу выигрывать чемпионаты мира. И готов конкурировать со всеми этими командами.
One thing people might not know, because now in CSGO there are many good Russian players. Russian players have won the major and have been some of the best players. People think of people like Shiro or Jame, etc. But what people might not know in CS 1.6 is there weren't very many famous Russian players. There was a few teams, and I remember the only ones when you came along who actually had like sort of status in the West, like people were like, he is really good, was actually the player Lex, if you remember him from Virtus.pro. Aside from that, there was like some players were considered like good, but nobody thought that, like, for example, a Russian player is as good, like I say, as Neo or Forrest or these people that everyone worshipped in the West. But I remember talking to Hooch, who obviously later played with you in Gambit and a bunch of Russian teams. And when I asked him, what's this Dosia guy like? He told me an answer that I can't lie. It made me really hyped, Dosia. It sounded super sick, like something from a movie. Because he said to me, if you remember, he used to also play with that player Romshka, who obviously was in one of these teams, right? And he said to me as an example, he said, here's the difference. Romshka is a really good player, but Dosia is from heaven. as though like you were some sort of like fucking Jesus or something like at Counter-Strike. Did you know about this? Was there like pressure on you to be like the best Russian player or to be like some top player and be as good as people who were the best players in the world? Do you think there was pressure in 1.6?
Нет, на самом деле давления в плане игры не было никогда вообще. Наверное, у меня было единственное давление всегда вот именно в 1.6, то, что я всегда боялся того, что меня позовет команда уровня выше. Ну, например, у нас, когда было ТПО Sports, я боялся, что меня позовут те же Virtus.pro, потому что я не хотел там играть без брата, я не хотел играть без ребят, ну, остальных, да, и вот я вот этого момента больше боялся, и, ну, слава богу, что такого не случилось, и я до конца вот с ребятами доиграл в 1.6.
When CSGO came along, it was actually a famous thing, if you can remember, that there were some players who were just as good, like Forest, Get Right, the players from NIP, obviously, they were very good immediately. And I would say there was a few people transition. Obviously, the Source players were all good, but I actually think a lot of the really good 1.6 players, a lot of them weren't as good. People remember people like Trace were just kind of okay, or they were just like not as good players, or some of them didn't like the game as much. When CSGO first came along, you seemed like you were really good immediately. Was the game just a natural transition? Did you ever worry, like, I won't be as good at this game, or maybe I just won't play the game? Did you ever think about this?
Ну, мне на самом деле очень понравилась сразу эта игра, хотя она была точно так же, как и CS2, очень сильно недоработана. Наверное, ну вот мне кажется, что как раз такие игроки, как Гитрайт, Форест, они немножко раньше получили доступ к игре, и на фоне остальных, наверное, выглядело так, что они лучше. Вот. Но со временем их все догнали, в том числе и я вместе с командой. Ну, как-то так.
If people don't know, your team, which was Virtus.pro in CSGO at this time, was the one that stopped the famous 87-0 of NIP. It's the reason why it's not 88-0 or 89-0. You beat them at the Star Series tournament, and you beat them twice, and then you won the first tournament. They'd obviously won every other land they'd ever been to at this point in time. Can you give me some thoughts? In this moment, did you kind of know we're doing something historic? Like, everyone said this team was unbeatable.
Ну, конечно, было, потому что весь мир об этом говорил, то, что это историческое событие, потому что ребята, ну, я, если не ошибаюсь, такого больше никто не повторял, как они, такого именно количества выигранных игр подряд, поэтому, ну, пока это историческое, ну, это 100%.
Since you did play the best teams from 1.6, and this team at the beginning of CSGO had the status of no one could beat them, what were they so good at? What made them a good team?
Ну, наверное, я просто скажу то же самое, что говорил там за месяц до этой игры, до этой победы. Никто не может выигрывать всегда. И рано или поздно кто-то тебя обыграет.
One of the other teams of this era, everyone knows, it was NIP and VeryGames. And famously, when VeryGames got shocks was when they became the top team. And you also had a rivalry with this team. You were battling them as even when you were the Astana Dragons, you were battling them as well. Like, do you remember this team? I think here's the thing. I think every fan can remember NIP, but maybe they don't remember VeryGames as much. What do you remember about VeryGames? What type of team was this?
Ну, для начала там был Скрим, который стрелял только в голову. И это был ужас, наверное, для всех. Ну, и это был очень популярный игрок, которого, ну, действительно боялись почти все команды. Но для нас мы иногда их выигрывали, они иногда нас. Ну, и вот три команды, как вот после нашей победы над НИП, между нами тремя как-то получалось то, что всегда кто-то кого-то обыгрывает. Да, и, наверное, на тот момент там еще был, ну, один из самых лучших снайперов. То есть у NIP не было такого снайпера. По-моему, у нас тоже на тот момент не было такого снайпера, как Кенес.
Well, that's a perfect segue, because I was going to ask, actually, one unusual detail fans might not know. They probably know that Guardian, the Slovakian player, played in NAVI, who obviously was a team that spoke Russian, but actually he was in this team first. He was in Virtus.pro. And as far as I know, Dosia, I actually know Guardian. I've talked to him many times. As far as I know, at this point in time, he barely spoke any Russian. Like, he definitely wasn't fluent and couldn't, like, call the game. Was he really just like people would think, like a meme? Like, he's just off in a corner AWPing and you guys speak Russian and play the game without him? him? How does it work with a player who doesn't speak the language fluently?
На самом деле это, действительно, не знаю, наверное, первый случай вообще в мире, когда так происходила игра, но капитан разговаривал с 3 игроками на русском, с одним игроком на английском. Но когда мы при этом давали информацию на карте, Гвардиан, он изучил наши точки на картах, и поэтому ему было, не нужно было повторять информацию там на английском языке.
After this period in time, as I mentioned, you then were in a team called Astana Dragons. And if people don't know, this actually was quite a cool concept. Like, the idea was, it was like CIS super team. So if people don't know, it was like, obviously you had people like Dosia, but then you had like initially Edward and Marklov from NAVI. Then you had AdreN, who obviously was in your team, but people know was the best Kazakhstani player ever, maybe. Like, this lineup on paper sounds really cool. And initially the results were really good. Like, did you think something similar, like we're actually making a super team and we can be like number one and win everything?
Да, конечно, такое ощущение было, и это было действительно супер команда с СНГ, это топовые супер игроки Нави, это топ-1 плеер Казахстана, и, наверное, как раз то, что все супер игроки вот эти собрались в одной команде и, скажем так, погубило нас, потому что у нас не было человека, который бы нас собрал всех вместе, тренера, да. Сейчас мы вообще эту игру не представляем без тренера. И, наверное, если бы у нас появился такой тренер, как Блейд сейчас, да, в Нави, наверное, мы бы стали топ-1 мира.
Because this is one of the areas where, as someone who's a historian who was there and knows the context, I feel like there's a story at the first ever major, Dreamhack Winter 2013, where if someone's a fan and they go and look on Liquipedia, they're going to see like Fnatic won the event, so Fnatic must have been awesome, and then wow, they played Complexity in the semi-finals. Wow, I didn't know the Americans were good, but what they don't know, Dosia, is when this tournament began, as you said earlier, the 3 best teams was NIP, VeryGames, and Astana Dragons, and if people see this bracket, you're on the side of the bracket without NIP and VeryGames. And supposedly, I'm supposed to say, if I'm the analyst, like, Astana Dragons will be in the final. They might win the major. So you guys got bounced immediately in the quarterfinals. Did you think similarly? Like, we're going to win the major when you saw the bracket? Were you shocked to lose to Complexity? To me, it was an upset. What do you think?
Наверное, я сейчас закопаю, может быть, свою репутацию или репутацию ребят. Но скажу сразу, что на тот момент никаких ставок и так далее вообще не существовало в Counter-Strike. Но мы сделали такой шаг. Мы специально ушли в другую сетку от NIP и VeryGames. И это просто сыграла карма. Если вы посмотрите, там игра была, насколько я помню, Цепаш Games, что-то такое, с такой командой, с датской. И там была невероятно смешная игра. Там мы бегали просто так, на нюке. И команда против нас делала абсолютно то же самое. Они не хотели нас выиграть, а мы не хотели их выиграть. И мне кажется, это карма. То, что мы ушли в другую сетку от ребят, и абсолютно не были готовы играть с американской командой.
After this, people will know that this team obviously didn't last that much longer, and you went and you were in Hellraisers instead. One thing I think people probably remember about Hellraisers, even though, funnily, this guy wasn't in it very long, was that it's one of the first places that people saw Simple. This was obviously a year later at the major Dreamhack Winter 2014. Simple was in this team, and everyone remembers he was playing pretty well. He looked pretty good, but he wasn't in the team that long. So my question would be, first of all, what was Simple like when you first met him? Like, was he really this prodigy everyone thinks he is now?
Наверное, да. Наверное, да. Он играл невероятно хорошо. Наверное, один из самых сильных игроков уже на тот момент был. Но в силу своего возраста он был очень токсичный. Если сейчас мы, наблюдаем за Сашей, и он где-то может себе позволить какое-то высказывание, то там это был именно то, что я называю токсик.
I actually had a question along those lines then, because everyone does know how good he is at the game. But my question goes like that, Dosia. Usually it's famous, especially in sports or like esports, that if you're the young player and the inexperienced player, you're supposed to sort of respect the players that are older than you or more fit. But probably the most famous thing about Simple was he didn't really do that. Like I've heard some crazy stories about when he's in Flipside and Team Liquid, like just saying ridiculous things to people in practices or sort of just telling people almost to their face, like, you're shit and you did that wrong. Just do what I do, which obviously to an outsider sounds silly because we know how good he is. Do you have any funny stories? Did he ever say anything mad to you? Did he ever like criticize you or say you baiting or you too slow? Did he ever tell you anything funny?
Но у меня лично с ним не было вот именно вот таких моментов. Вот, не знаю, может быть, потому что я не допускал таких ошибок, которые он там замечал, или, ну, не знаю, может, я ему просто нравился, да, и он не хотел в мою сторону что-то вот такого говорить. Но я точно помню, что Маркелову он очень много высказывал.
At the end of 2013, when they did the very famous HLTV top 20 players, they ranked you number 4 in the whole world for 2013. Do you agree? Is this fair? Were you actually that good? Like, if people don't know, a modern day fan maybe doesn't know, like, that means you were one of the absolute best players in the world. Would you have agreed?
Наверное, наоборот. Из-за того, что я получил вот этот ранг, я начал себя немножко, не знаю, это, наверное, у нас это называется «словил звезду», да, и начал в команде немного влиять на состав команды. Вот. Мне кажется, лучше бы этого рейтинга не было никогда.
Let me ask you another question along those lines then, because that's actually a very curious answer to give. Like, it sounds like from that, you maybe wish that like you just sat and played the game and someone else figured out like who should join and who should you'd rather you didn't have a voice and the in-game leader figured it out instead?
Я имею в виду то, что я начал влиять внутри команды на то, чтобы кого-то убрать, а не на то, что кого-то взять там более хорошего.
What about at this point in time, since, as I say, based on the rankings and all the famous accolades, people will say this is when you were still at the top of your individual game. Can you give me some thoughts? If you had to describe yourself like you were an analyst, what sort of player was Dosia? Like, I'll give you an example. I remember that even though you were really skilled, it did seem like you moved very slowly around the map. Like, you were very careful. You always took every corner. And it looked a little bit like you sometimes baiting a bit, but if you're good, you're allowed to bait, I think, in Counter-Strike if you get the kills. So what did you think? What did Dosia think about himself?
Ну, наверное, так бы я описал, как такая черепаха, которая иногда превращается в зайца.
After this, I would say people obviously remember you in Gambit, but what people probably forget, Dosia, is Gambit didn't start with the lineup of that one PGL Krakow, the major. When the team first began, it didn't have a lot of those players. It was basically like you, Hooch, there was like AdreN, but there wasn't many other players. In fact, at the time, you and AdreN were the big names in the team. When this team came back, was the initial expectation that it should be a top team? Was it just somewhere to play? What was the idea initially?
Ну, на тот момент возраст и ощущение себя в этой игре позволяли думать о том, что мы можем. То, что я могу, то, что все игроки нашей команды могут. Не было такого ощущения, что мы кого-то не можем обыграть. Вот так.
Around this time, I want to ask a question about what your motivation was to play, because people will see the stats went down year on year, and then people are thinking, well, you're an older player, they won't be as good. So here's my question. I remember I won't say the name of the player, but a very famous CIS player, I once asked him basically something similar. I said to him, like, why do you still play? Like, it was years since you were at the top, and like this team you're on now probably won't win the major. And he basically told me, oh, I don't think of it as like a game I just play for fun anymore. Like, to me now it's just a job. And he told me, if you knew how much the average salary was in my country to do a normal office job, he said you would be like me. You would never stop playing. You will always try and play Counter-Strike as long as you're good enough and as long as you can get the salary. He kind of told me it's actually like better than doing a real job, as it were. Have you ever felt the same thing? Have you always actually played because you thought you were good or you loved the game?
Скажу так, что наверное, до 2020 года, 2021, и Но у меня именно была страсть, я хотел, мне было неважно, сколько у меня зарплата, там в Гамбит она была, понятно, что очень высокая, да, после победы на мейджоре. После этого, там, после ухода с Гамбита я играл и вообще в тир-3 командах, где и зарплаты, ну, далеко такой не было, скажем так, да, и она была вообще минимальная. Но меня никогда там деньги так сильно не заставляли играть, скажем так. И вот единственный еще момент хочу сказать, что мне кажется, это немного заблуждение, то, что люди думают, что с возрастом мы теряем вот какой-то фокус, да, на игре, еще что-то. Если бы я не женился, если бы у меня не родился ребенок, я бы сидел дальше, играл бы и был бы, наверное, в той же форме, как там в 18-19 году. Вот, просто время идет, и когда у тебя появляется семья, и твои приоритеты начинают меняться, вот именно это заставляет терять форму.
Along these lines, then, I have a bigger question about your whole career in terms of you as an individual player. It goes like this. What's strange about your answers is it might actually sound to people like you're quite humble and you don't think of yourself as like the big player in the team or the best player, etc. But I'll give you an example. I actually noticed it was kind of a bit similar when I did an interview with Simple, because if you ask him stuff like, you know, is he the greatest player ever? And did he, like, you know, was he amazing from day one? He'll always say like, oh, no, I had to work really hard. And, you know, like everyone, you have to grind and play. But at the same time, the way you can tell is if you were to spin the question and ask him something like, but is this guy better than you? He'll immediately be like, no, of course not. Because like his inner ego knows, like, of course, I think I'm the best. When you were at your peak level, did you think similarly? Did you feel like whenever I enter the server, I'm the best player, or whoever I'm playing, I can beat them if I play my top game? Did you have this sense? Did you have this confidence?
Если честно, я никогда даже не задумывался об этом. Ну, то есть я всегда заходил на сервер получать удовольствие и считать себя лучшим и там самым натренированным, да, это же получается одно и то же. Ну, если ты считаешь себя лучшим, значит, ты самый натренированный. Но если признаться, я демки начал смотреть только после победы на мейджоре. И, ну, значит, я не был никогда самым натренированным.
Obviously, one of the big moves that helped this Gambit team become the team that won the major was getting Zeus, the former in-game leader of NAVI, suddenly was available and he was in this team. Do you remember getting this player? Like, did you actually think when you got him, we've got like a player that we could win championships with now?
На самом деле было, да. Если сравнивать наш подход до прихода Зевса и с приходом Зевса, это как будто бы любители и профессионалы. И вот когда пришел Зевс, он нам привил вот эту, конечно же, не все, да, и вот у нас еще до сих пор остаются вот эти мувы, которые дал нам Эдик, но он дал нам дисциплину и вот этот профессионализм в каких-то моментах.
Along those lines, I actually did want to ask, like, this might shock people to find out you don't watch demos or that the team didn't have like super duper strat book, but it's actually quite funny you say that, because in the West, if I talk to my friends who were the in-game leaders back then, Khan or Lurpis, they actually did used to say that like Russian style Counter-Strike is on T side, everyone just slowly spreads out over the whole map and just does whatever they want, basically. And the joke is whoever gets the kill, that's the bomb site everyone goes to. Do you get the premise of why they would say that? I thought they were joking with this at the it seems like it's kind of true.
Но это на самом деле, ну, где-то так и есть. У нас всегда стиль нашей игры, он позволял нам делать какие-то действия, которые ты хочешь сделать, в которых ты уверен. Если ты умеешь там на своей позиции хорошо выходить и, ну, скажем так, убивать, да, но пожалуйста, тебе никто никогда не запретит, если ты делаешь там это, например, 8 из 10 раз. Будут говорить все, иди, делай, лишь бы ты убивал. Все.
One thing I want to ask about Gambit winning the major, before the big questions, what was it like, all that, I actually have a more serious question. And in English, people might say, I don't want to put you on the spot and make you feel uncomfortable. But I actually do, Dosia. I literally want to put you on the spot and maybe make you uncomfortable because there's a big question and it goes like this. So famously, when the team won, the big game everyone remembers was against Astralis. And obviously the map was Train. This is probably the map, I would say, that won you the major. If they won the game, a lot of people thought they were going to win the major, right? In this particular game, everyone remembers there's this epic moment on T side where Zeus does like a rush onto the ladder, the little ladder that you go to outside, and he wins this duel, and it allows the team to like break the game open and win the game, basically. And the problem goes like this. The story from Zeus goes, he made the call, like guys, like a movie, like, guys, ready, like, this is what we've got to do right now to win. And then he did it and he won, which sounds cool. But the problem, it goes like this, Dosia. I know some other players that were in this Gambit team, and maybe they think Zeus got, I don't know, too egotistical, and they were like, maybe he didn't make that call, maybe I made that call. And I was like, what? It's just drama? Was there some problems? Can you tell me your thoughts? If it's too weird, you tell me, but I feel you might tell me the truth. What do you think happened here? What was going on? You tell me.
Нет, безусловно, Зевс привел нас как раз к тому моменту, где, вот, наверное, о чем ты говоришь. Там, не помню точный счет, но это, по-моему, был 13-14, или вот очень близкий счет к завершению матча. Я скажу свою правду, которую знаю я. Зевс в том раунде запаниковал, и вот в предыдущем он, несмотря на весь его огромный опыт, вот какая-то паника у него произошла, и в определенный момент AdreN вот поставил паузу, сказал: так, все, Зевс, замолчи, все, ребята, все успокоились, сделаем такой-то, такой-то раунд.
Interesting. That's what I heard. That's what I was hinting at. Okay, cool. That was a true story then, apparently. Right. Obviously, winning this major was epic. But I have a question for you, which is, if I actually look at your whole career and I say this player won a major in Counter-Strike, people would say, yeah, it makes perfect sense. In like 1.6, he was the best Russian player. Like I say, he's number 4 player in 2013. I have to say, no. He didn't win then. He won way later. He won in Gambit years later. People will know this is considered a really shock result, Dosia. If I go to the beginning of this tournament and I got all the Western people who follow the game, Anders and Moses and people like that, if I ask them, make a list of teams that will win this major, PGL Krakow, I don't think your team would even be top 5. They'd be like Astralis, SK, all the teams, NAVI. There was loads of teams. So for a lot of people, it wasn't even a dream that Gambit would win this major. Do you remember yourself? Did you actually ever think to yourself, like, I won't win a major? Do you remember going into this one? Was there any special reason to believe it was like destiny or it was going to happen?
Если честно, у нас мы ехали на этот турнир с небольшим конфликтом внутри команды, либо с большим конфликтом внутри команды, вот. И по сути мы даже не планировали выходить из группы. То есть у нас была сильная группа, и мы думали, что мы просто из нее не выйдем. Вот, но по сути то же самое можно сказать и про вторых финалистов.
One of the players who, obviously, people will know the official MVP of this major from HLTV was AdreN. He got to be the MVP. And I actually think, even though there might be tournaments I might disagree with, I think this one, they nailed it. I think it was perfect. This is a player where I don't know, actually, maybe if fans are old school enough to know how good he is. Because, like, put it this way, I remember this guy carrying lands before this part of this story. Like, when I was talking about TPU Sports, he was already an amazing player before that, Dosia. And this is in 2017 now. We're talking about winning the major, like 10 years later, he's actually like an MVP of a major. Who is AdreN? Like, I think actually people don't. To me, this guy's an amazing talent.
Он всегда был лучшим игроком Казахстана в каждой команде, и во времена 1.6, я не знаю, я помню только его на выездах на все эти ВЦГ, ЕСВЦ. На всех турнирах был он. И могла команда там полностью поменяться, но он всегда оставался.
One other detail about this major that was famous, I mean, I will say it, sadly, Valve has robbed us. They've taken out the game now, was obviously they gave you the graffiti. They gave you that graffiti of the grenade that you did onto Immortals on Inferno in the pit. And this is obviously a very famous moment, right? Normally, if someone gets a graffiti from a major, I should just be really polite and go, wow, that must be incredible to get a graffiti. But I actually have a different question, and it's kind of a rude one, which is normally if I think of like a graffiti, it's some like epic moment, like the crazy, all he did do was just throw a grenade. Look, it was a smart grenade. Yeah, it was clever, like he didn't move. But like, what do you think about getting a graffiti for that? I thought it was kind of wild to get a graffiti just for a grenade. What do you think?
Я даже больше скажу, то, что это даже не мое решение. Это мне подсказали ребята с команды. Но, если честно, именно на этой карте, наверное, нужно было добавить какую-то, вот, я не знаю, 2 топора или что-то такое на Б, на кафеле с надписью «HObbit».
Obviously, this player, HObbit, was the young player in this team, whereas it was a lot of veterans, really established names, a lot of 1.6 players. This was the guy who kind of broke out, and everyone remembers this was the year where he himself was getting like HLTV players saying, but then there was a few years, and now people know, obviously, he later played in the different Gambit, the Cloud9 team now. Who is this guy? Because he seems like a very quiet player, and people know his game was kind of a little bit like, it looked like maybe he just team player, does whatever he's asked to do. Who is this player to you? Who is HObbit?
Когда мы играли вместе, это был просто какой-то, не знаю, бешеный аимер.
After this time period of Gambit, when the lineup started to go downhill again, people will know, you said earlier in the interview, that you were playing in like tier 2 and tier 3 teams, but you kept like a bit active and you were still playing, right? How much were you, you said before you have a family, were you trying to play almost like a what would you say, like a part-time job, like something you do on the side? Is it still the idea, even if you're at the lower level, you will be a pro Counter-Strike player going forwards? What's your current idea of your career and what were you trying to do the last few years?
Ну, после появления семьи, безусловно, да, это уже, ну, скажем так, КС перешел на второй план.
Since when you were talking earlier, if people notice a theme in this interview, is when you talked about the team you played in with your brother, you talked about like wanting to play with certain people, and then you talked about the idea you didn't want to have influence over who joins or gets kicked from a team, right? In your career, you're not someone who's moved to a lot of teams. It tends to be like you join the team, you stay in the team, and then someone else comes and goes. Like, are you someone where, is there something special about playing with a certain group of people? You don't want to be like, think about sports. Like if someone's a hockey star or a football star, they sometimes just go to a new team because they just want to win or the more money there or something. Like you never thought this way? Did you have a different perspective on teams?
Не знаю, у меня нет особо какого-то там стильного объяснения этому, да, просто я стараюсь, ну, как сказать, держать слово свое. Если я с кем-то о чем-то договариваюсь, я, ну, пытаюсь до конца вот сделать, как я сказал.
If people look at your career, you got to play with a lot of very great players from CIS region. You got to play with Simple and Marklov and Edward and AdreN and obviously a bunch of 1.6 players that were the Russian players. Is there someone in your career you didn't play with? Is there someone you'd have loved to have teamed up with, or you should have played with this guy? It would have been awesome.
Но, наверное, это все-таки игроки из Казахстана. Вот до сих пор я играю с Мол. Вот, и вот, наверное, они, ну, самые лучшие.
Okay, can you give us a reason why? Is there something about their temperament or the way they play?
Они бесстрашные, у них просто нету страха. Они не понимают, что перед ним там Форест или перед ним Шок стоит, или, ну не знаю, Кенни С там с АВП где-то, или Гвардиан. Вот он просто идет и убивает, и все. Ну, это бесстрашные люди.
When you think about your own career, if I was to list things off, like you did have times you were ranked by experts, one of the best players, you have won a major, you did at one point have the graffiti in the game, you have all these things that are excellent accolades, they're really big, etc. How do you think of your own career? Like, was it satisfying? Did you accomplish everything you needed to? Was there a level you wanted to be at that you didn't get at? How does Dosia see his own career?
Ну, наверное, я добился многого, но хотелось бы вот почувствовать, побыть на вершине. Не разово выиграть какой-то большой крупный турнир, да, а вот побыть хотя бы там на протяжении полугода или вот типа такого, прям на самом верху. И вот именно в этом движении, скажем так, да, когда ты самый лучший, тебе нужно прилагать там в 2 раза больше усилий, да, чтобы оставаться этим лучшим. И вот хочется ну, вот быть вот именно в этой как атмосфере.
Since, as I said earlier, there was a perception in European teams of what Russian style is, and I can tell you as another example, you remember in 1.6 those Korean players and like We Made Fox and Eastraw, there also used to be a lot of weird comments about this team because they're from a different region, like, oh, they play random, or what are they doing, you know? And the idea was, to European meta thinkers, this is just a different way of playing Counter-Strike, so they didn't understand it. My question would be this: is there a team that, for Dosia, they were always weird? Was there someone whose style was hard for you to understand, or why did they play this way? It could be anyone, could be Americans, could be Danish. Is there some team that always stood out for you that was strange, that you didn't understand the way they played?
Я скажу так, что дольше всего мы подбирали вот ключик к СК Гейминг, когда там играли бразильцы. Это была самый такой... Мы сыграли 3 или 4 турнира против них, попались, и мы даже не поняли, что произошло. Нас просто унесло, и все. А вот уже после там 3-4 турниров мы потихоньку вот прочувствовали эту команду. С остальными у нас так не было. Там буквально, ну вот, играя праки из дома, да, тренировочные игры, нам вот этого было достаточно, чтобы как-то понять команду, подготовиться, а вот с этими ребятами было очень сложно.
I actually want to ask you about a modern day Russian player, not someone you ever played with, and it's going to be the player Jame, who obviously is also a major champion. He's the in-game leader of Virtus.pro himself, right? The question I have goes like this, Dosia, right? People in the West, he himself also has kind of a lot of memes around him, like the idea that like he's saving all the time, and there's that joke that they get paid per round that they play in the game because he's so slow, and they're always using like this very like passive approach, right? My cheeky question would be, obviously you yourself as a player were kind of known to be something of, like I say, a bit of a slower player, and he'd play a bit more off the angles and the percentages. As a cheeky question, do you like this style, the way that Jame plays? What do you think of the way he leads the game?
Не знаю, я просто не хочу оценивать, да, игроков и чью-то игру. Но, как по мне, да, все эти мемы, не знаю, Джейм играет как ему удобно, по сути, да, и на самом-то деле все его мувы, большинство мувов, когда он сейвит, это приводит к тому, что у его команды в следующем раунде есть АВП. И, ну, это не может быть плохо. Ты не даешь АВП сопернику, ты сейвишь для своей команды АВП, ты не даешь дополнительно каких-то вот моментов, да, и на сейве ты еще убиваешь там по 3-4 человека. Ну, такое очень часто бывало, когда вот только эти мемы зарождались.
Another player I would contrast you with a little bit, Dosia, is the Polish player Pasha. If people remember, he was also a very good player, but actually it was also memes that made him really famous. And I will say, even though, I mean, he actually speaks pretty good English now, but at the time he even made the fact he didn't speak good English part of sort of his persona. Like he would make that joke, like Pasha's London school. The joke being that that's not even how you'd say that. Obviously he meant English school, didn't he? Not London school. But everyone got the joke, and I almost feel like people loved him more, even though they knew his English was fucked up, just because he was trying. And I don't know if you get this, is why I want to ask you this. But I feel like at the peak of when you were the ex-god and the meme, I feel like if you didn't have to, you wouldn't have had to ever be fluent. But if you could have even just spoken a little bit of English on a mic, I think fans would have gone crazy. Like if you remember that time when you were sponsored by that, like, oh, that like energy drink called Pussy or whatever. If you would have come out and just said on the microphone, like, want some pussy? People, even if you didn't know any other English, I feel like every fan would lose their mind. It'd be like a viral moment. Did you ever think about this? I mean, I've actually never heard you ever on a West. Look, after party, I've heard you speak English. I've never ever heard you speak English publicly. Is there a reason why you never even tried to do it?
Я могу говорить по-английски только когда я выпиваю. И, ну, я нахожу вот какие-то, складываются у меня предложения, да, в голове. А когда я трезвый, ну, они просто не складываются. Это как будто я беру переводчик и вот так, ну, несколько слов из переводчика просто куда-то выкидываю вот так из своего рта.
This is perfect because there's one of my last questions was along these lines, which is one of the things that has made you so mysterious and built this mystique about who Dosia is to people who only speak English is famously Olaf Meister, the Fnatic player, told this story on stream that he said he also never spoke to you, but that when you were drunk, you were talking to him all in English, and then the next day he saw you like at breakfast or something like, oh, hey, Dosia, and then you basically just didn't say anything, and then he said next time you were drunk, he was like, what the hell, like, why didn't you say something? And then you said to him, like, sorry, I only speak English while drunk. Like, it's true then, apparently. This is just kind of who you are, right?
Ну, это, я говорю чистую правду. То есть я могу очень просто там ответить hello, good morning, ну, такие простые вещи я могу, да, и я знаю там, как переводится там куча слов на английский язык, да, с русского, но вот именно... И у меня нету страха говорить на английском. То есть я могу зайти в магазин и даже вот так, ну, что-то там попытаться купить, да, где-то в Европе или в Америке на английском языке. У меня нет страха говорить. Но у меня, вот, не знаю, мой мозг вот так построен, что мне надо быть именно пьяным, чтобы, ну, вот, именно разговорный английский у меня был.
At the end of this interview, do you have like a final message for people who watch? Is there maybe someone you want to thank or say hello to?
Yes. Watch my streams, talk with me in English, and I talk on English with you.
Okay. Спасибо большое.
Спасибо тебе.
They say no man is an island. We all need people who've got our back. And supporting me and the content on my channel are the following people: Matt Pugnaccio Racula, The Concept, Animosity, Bane Diesel, Ben Glass, Jason, Jensen Gore, Tosh, Toucan, and you know it. Always a special thanks goes up to my main man, Jerky's Minion. Do you want to ask a question for my video AMA? Do you want to take part in one of those lengthy discussions where I talk about whatever topics are on your mind? Do you want teasers, find out who the upcoming guests are, or maybe even to suggest a guest or a topic for my content? If any of those perks or others catch your fancy, well, put your money where your mouth is and join the Skrilluminati today, where? In the Patreon link in the description box below.